Hello, and welcome to the Final Percent podcast. I'm your host today, Cayla Kimble, and you're probably wondering why I'm sitting here in my office right now filming this, and it's not Greg coming at you. Well, I had this idea to come up with this series, and I pitched it to Greg actually just before the road ahead leading into 2024. And I really wanted to do this podcast series. It was just on my heart. I felt like not only does the world need it, but the women of the Final Percent community really need it. And I felt like I was the right one to step into that role and bring this across the finish line. However, if you haven't noticed, it's now 2025. And so it still has been on my heart. It's still been in the works. It's still been something that I'm really excited about and really passionate about. Sometimes life happens and you kind of let that get in the way of doing certain things that are you're really excited about. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to just pull the trigger and do it now. There's never going to be a good time or, the best time to get started. You're never going to feel ready. And I will admit, I think a part of it was me dragging my feet a little bit, and not fully feeling like I was ready. I mean, given last year, I kind of did a few things, like we traveled a bunch, we hosted a bunch of events, and I kind of built a human. So and it wasn't the easiest pregnancy, so I didn't always feel like I had the right bandwidth, the right time, the right situation, And so short of it is that it didn't come to fruition in the timeline that I originally wanted it to. However, what better time to kick off a new podcast series than when you have a newborn? Why not, right? Like, let's just be real here. So I have my 1-month-old actually sleeping next to me. He's on the floor in his little rocker, being extra adorable and kind of snoring. So I don't know if you'll hear random noises here and there, but that's part of what I wanted to highlight today was just, the fact that I am doing it anyway. And, like I said, it was making up excuses left and right as to why I was too busy or too, whatever to get started. But I really want to take action this year. My 3 big words are action, courage, and grace. And I think that is just something that I'm going to really focus on and keep front of mind for 2025 for me, because there's a lot of things I want to accomplish. I want to take massive amounts of action, and a lot of that is going to take quite a bit of courage in order to pull it off. And then wherever I fall short or wherever, life happens, I'm going to give myself grace so I don't cascade and I can keep pushing through whatever life is throwing my way. And especially being a parent back in the thick of the newborn stage, that is going to be very, very important for me to remember that. But the reason I wanted to highlight that in the start of this whole thing is just because I know a lot of us really do just kind of come up with these excuses without really realizing it. And it holds us back from really going after our dreams and after our goals. And I've wanted to do this podcast series for a long time now. And I let life get in the way, and whether, or not it's justified, whatever, it doesn't matter. I am now taking action. I'm taking my power back. I'm taking control. And I hope that by me, even in this season of life, being able to pull the trigger and make this happen now with my baby sleeping next to me, that maybe I can inspire someone else to get up off of their butt, get up on their feet and take action on something that they hold near and dear to their heart, that they've just been holding out on. And I think, doing that in any season of life gives you just tremendous power. And I feel good right now. I'm very proud of myself. You can give myself a quick little pat on the back. But the podcast series that I am rolling out with the Final Percent is called Exponential Women. And I am so, so, so excited and thrilled to finally be here doing this for you all today. Kind of the gist of why I wanted to do Exponential Women in the beginning. Greg had asked me before the road ahead of 2024, think about what you want to accomplish for this year. What's on your heart? What do you want to attack head on, and talk about it? And I was just really thinking about what I could contribute to our community. And our Infinity Club is so fantastic. Our community members are just off the charts amazing. But there's really a piece that, of the puzzle that I feel like has been missing. And that's something dedicated solely toward the women of our community. And that really lit my soul on fire in thinking about what that might look like, because, I grew up in a very, women dominated family. Like, of course, my dad is the patriarch and the king of the household, right? But he was the only boy, middle child, had 6 sisters. And so there's a lot of strong women that I grew up around growing up. My aunt specifically, my Aunt Denise, she actually was one of the founders of a women's group up in Arizona called Woman Story. And I would go to their camps, and it was all about women empowerment. Yeah, I was a little young. I was probably like preteen, early teens. And it was more geared toward older women. But because I was her niece, she wanted to bring me along for the ride. And I was so incredibly grateful to have those experiences at such a young age. And then her daughter, my cousin Jen, hosted girl power day camps for girls that were my age and even younger. And it was so cool just to be in that environment, talking about self-confidence and self-love, and, showing off your talents and making connections and friendships, and just having like that close knit group of people, that sisterhood, if you will. It was very, very powerful for me in those formative years. And I'm forever grateful for that experience. And I really saw firsthand the power of championing and lifting up women and coming together and sharing stories and highlighting what we've been through and what our unique experiences are, and how complex creatures we are, and what beautiful and strong creatures we are. And it is just something that I think will really take the final percent to the next level, is really highlighting the amazing women of our community. And so that's one thing that I'm going to do with this podcast series, is I'm going to interview different women in our community, and they're going to share their story. They're going to share their highs, their lows, their, life lessons and takeaways and different things that, they have experienced in their life, in hopes of being that beacon of hope and that lighthouse that we can really, spread our light, share our light and share our story and inspire people and let people know, specifically women, but of course the men as well, that, you're not alone. And, we can be here to lift each other up in such a beautiful and feminine way. And for that, I'm just very honored to be able to bring that to the table and share that with everybody today. And so I'll be interviewing women in the coming weeks. But before we kick, that off, I think it's important that y'all get to know me a little bit more. If you're in the Final Percent community, there's a really good chance you already know who I am, what I'm about, and all that fun stuff. But if you're new to the group, you haven't ever met me before, my name is Cayla Kimble. I am Greg Kimble's wife. I'm co-founder of the Final Percent, and I also am a boy mom. Very happy boy mom. My boys are the best thing that has ever happened to me. They're the cutest things on planet Earth. Conrad is now 3 years old, and Caleb, as I had said, is 1 month old, and he's literally snoring and sleeping right next to me. He's the light of my life. It's crazy being in this stage again, I will say, but anyway, it's amazing. I absolutely love it. I moved, so let's backtrack a little bit. So I, kind of before, meeting Greg, I had a corporate job in the banking industry. And it was a stable job. I grew up in a very stable, loving home. Greg always jokes and says I had like the Leave It to Beaver family, like White House, picket fence, all that kind of thing. It really, really, really shaped who I am. I feel like I'm a very level-headed, stable person, most of the time. It's just pretty incredible, though, how often I felt like I was really meant for more. Because also with that came, like, I didn't always take a lot of risks. I didn't always, sometimes I was very confident in myself, and other times I was really dragging my feet, and I was not confident in myself. I didn't fully trust myself in the way that I could have or should have. And I often thought, I feel like I'm destined for more in this life. And I remember sitting in the bathroom at Wells Fargo. I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like, this is my life right now. Like, I just have a desk job. I'm going to work here, probably move up the corporate ladder and just work, and then have my weekends and nights, and then retire, and then get to go off and do the things that I really want to do in my life, and then die. Like, that just, and I'm not knocking people in the corporate world. Like, obviously, it's, as we know, it's very needed for our society. A lot of people that I know have, the traditional 9-to-5 jobs, and even in my family. And it's a very commendable thing. But just for me personally, I kind of felt like I didn't want to have my best years be my golden years in my retirement age. I wanted to fast forward and somehow find a way to live my dreams out loud, follow my passion, and be more fulfilled and happier in the younger stage of my life right now, and then have that change the whole trajectory of my future, and just see where I could take things and level up a little bit, if you will. And I didn't really know what that looked like. I love to sing. I'm very much into music. I wanted to be an artist for a long time, and so I was exploring the music route. And I remember, so I met Greg shortly after that whole, experience in the bathroom. And he came, so we met through a mutual friend. I was working on music. I shared with him one of my songs, and I said, hey, I need some help on this song. He's like, let me get you in touch with my producer, Greg. He can really help you with whatever you're trying to accomplish with this, and give you some good pointers. And I said, awesome. I'd love to meet anyone in the music industry. I'm so excited, and I'm green, and I want to meet, come in contact with anyone I can, in hopes of, growing and making connections and moving this career along. So I didn't really know what I was doing. And I met Greg, and I sent him my song, and he said, I love your voice. I'd love to see what you got in person. I'm going to be in Arizona next week for business. Like, let's link up and we'll see what happens. And I'm like, cool. We went out karaokeing. It was so much fun. We instantly connected, became like BFFs. It was so much fun. Such a cool guy. We were talking all the time and texting. And then, he actually invited me up to Colorado to do some recording with him in his new studio that he had just started. And I fell in love with the idea of it, and his vision that he had, and just the crew that he was working with. And it was so fun. And it was in the music industry, and it really just excited me at such a deep level. I wanted to dive in and really just see what I could do with him up there. And so I made the decision. I was like, all right, well, I'm moving to Colorado, guys. I'm going to quit my stable job. I'm going to leave the corporate world, and I'm going to go basically join a startup, become a business owner, and build this thing up, from the ground up with Greg, and leave everything I've ever known behind, my life, my family, my friends, as I, basically lived in Arizona from 5 weeks old until I was 24. So my whole life and everything was there. And I had an aunt and uncle who lived here in Colorado, and one friend, but they were kind of far away. And so I really didn't have much up here. So I really, really, really took a big leap of faith, and I took a chance on myself, and I bet on myself. And I was like, I may not have all the skills. I may not have everything, figured out that I need to have figured out, but I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to do this now. And, we built our recording studio that turned into a recording arts school from the ground up. That became, very successful for a long time, and, very, very proud of that. But I flipped everything. Like, we were working nights. We were in the beginning, of course, it's a startup. We weren't generating much of anything. We had minimal clientele. And so it was just a whole 180 from the world I was living in to, coming here. But, the excitement and the thrill of building that with my like new best friend, it was, one of the coolest and most amazing experiences of my life. And also on that note, like there came a point where I just knew, this is where I was supposed to be. I was in the right place at the right time. This was God and the universe nudging me in that direction to really have the next step of my life take shape. And that was exactly what I wanted. When I looked in the mirror at Wells Fargo in the bathroom, I just was like, I need something more. And that more showed up when I least expected it. And then, there's another moment where I was at my aunt's house and I realized I had started developing feelings, when I was visiting. I started developing feelings for Greg, and I was like, crap, like, what are we going to do? Like, this is complicating things tremendously. But I was like, I just knew, like, again, I'm in the right place at the right time. Like, things are great and we get along so well. We're best friends. There's so many commonalities. We have shared vision. We're aligned. We have similar work ethics. Like, there's so much drawing me to him. Not only from a business standpoint, but from a relationship standpoint, that I was like, I just knew that this was the right move for me to make in all of for all of those reasons. And my heart just was exploding with, all of these mixed emotions, but mostly love for the direction that we were going in together in lockstep. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful and terrifying time of my life, just because moving into a different state and all the logistics and things that come along with that. And you're like going to a startup that's unreliable because it's a startup, right? Like there's so many unknown variables, but that's the point of it is Greg and I have built our life together, and it's been he and I together in this thing from the very beginning. And it's been such a beautiful process to be a part of and experience. But I also learned so much along the way about business, entrepreneurship, leadership, organization, management, operations, like the list goes on and on and on, strategy, structure, routines, like people, psychology, like all of the things. And I'm just so grateful that that's all now, interwoven deep within me and has become a big, big part of who I am today. And it's, something that I will always be extremely thankful for Greg for helping me see it. Obviously I know, it also came on me was because of me, I should say, for taking that leap and taking action and doing the work. And, I wouldn't be who I am without all of that. It's definitely, we're a byproduct of the people we surround ourselves with, of the work that we do, the stuff that we absorb through our eyes and ears and our mouth, I guess. Yeah, it's part of why all of it is just part of why my mission is so deep and so strong, of wanting to equip people, men and women, but of course with this we're deep diving specifically with women, but equipping people to live happier and more fulfilling lives with adopting, or through adopting a positive growth mindset. Because there's been so many times in my life where I didn't have the confidence or trust in myself, or I second guessed everything, and I had very much a fixed mindset, and I felt very stuck and stagnant in my life. And when I really started shifting was after my move to Colorado, and I started reading books and getting in bigger rooms and networking with the right people and just getting outside of my comfort zone and just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable all the time. And it has really allowed me to kind of crack myself open a little bit and allow this new person to start to take shape and fill in all of the gaps. And it's such a beautiful thing to not only experience yourself, but it's something that I wish so deeply for everyone in my life. And if I can help by either sharing my story or, coaching or mentoring or having a conversation with someone, like anything I can do to help someone else feel that same thing or have that same experience in their own way, I feel like that is the most fulfilling thing for me. And that's the best thing that I can do with my time here on this planet. I just want to help other people. I want to help other people live their exponential life and say their dreams out loud and do the work and really just be happy, come into an amazing, supportive community and grow beyond their wildest dreams and live a life worth dying for. It is just such an honor being who I am in our organization. And I just am just so grateful from the bottom of my heart. And I really, really want to see everyone thrive. And part of that is, coming together with different people and allowing there to be an energy of exchange, or an exchange of energy, I should say. And really allowing others. So it's not just like the Cayla show. Let me just talk about a bunch of concepts and da-da-da-da. I want to partially do that, but also and mostly highlight and, like I said, champion the amazing women of our community, because we all have a story that needs to be heard. We all have lessons that we've learned that need to be shared that can really help other people. And by creating a platform where I can help elevate other women and by proxy also help elevate other people and women, I just think what bigger blessing than that. And so I'm so honored to be the host of this podcast. I'm honored to be here sitting in this seat right now. I'm honored to go on this journey with all of you. And I cannot wait to see and hear what stories are going to unfold over the next handful of episodes that we're going to do here. And if you join me on this, thank you. I just appreciate you so much for, everything and everyone is vying for your time these days. And every moment you spend with me, I understand the seriousness of that, and I don't take it for granted. I'm very, very, very grateful. So with that, I think we will wrap up, and I have some really exciting things for our next episode that will be coming very, very soon, but stay tuned. We have a lot of exciting things coming out after that as well. And I guess I'll end with, I love you all more, and welcome to the Exponential Women Podcast Series.